Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Wan Sabira Hanun bint Wan Aslan. So on my part, I will be talking or I will be presenting about the initiatives that can curb this issue or can solve this issue, which is Uyghur Muslim in China. So without wasting time, let's jump into the first initiative that we can curb. So the first one is China needs to be wise to U-turn on their policy on a Uyghur Muslim, even we are Kazakh Muslims or perhaps non-Muslims who are sympathetic to the plight of Uyghurs and the Muslims. So Islam and China can coexist based on truth, human equality, not lies, and all things pernicious that dysfunctional state may do. So, don't bully minorities or try to colonize anyone, as many assertion rose on the possibility of the use of debt trap as a new weapon of new colonization done through the offer of huge debt with impossible pace of repayment, as we saw in Sri Lanka's Hambantota Seaport. China is not dysfunctional state given the speed by which it can contain COVID-19. Be wise. Um, there are 2.2 billion Muslims in 57 countries that perhaps should rise and demand answers from China. On top of that, on September 9, 2020, over 300 international NGOs sent a joint letter to the UN Secretary General Antonia, UN High Commissioner for Human Rights Michael Beckett, and member states to the UN, raising the issue of impact of China's right violation worldwide and calling for a mechanism to monitor the situation in Xinjiang. Next, the joint initiative urged the UN Secretary General appoint a special envoy consistent with his call to action on human rights, and we call on the High Commissioner for Human Rights to fulfill her independent mandate to monitor and publicly report on China about the right violations. We support the call that UN member states and the UN agencies use all the interaction with China authorities to insist that the government comply with its international human rights obligations. Okay. Next, this is not the first initiative of this sort. In August 2020, 76 faith leaders combined their voices to speak up against the alleged atrocities perpetrated against the Uyghur Muslims in China. So their joint statement said that at least 1 million Uyghur and other Muslims in China are incarcerated in prison camps facing starvation, torture, murder, sexual violence, slave labor, and other things. Outside the camps, basic religious also is denied, mosques are destroyed, children are separated from their families, and acts as a simple owning a Holy Quran, praying or fasting can result in arrest. So recent research reveals a campaign of forced sterilization and birth prevention targeting at least 80% of Uyghur Muslim or women of childbearing age in the four Uyghur populated prefectures. Any action which, according to 1948 Genocide Convention, could elevate this to the level of genocide. This clear aim of the Chinese authorities is to eradicate the Uyghur identity. Another report published by the Australian Strategic Policy Institute, or known as ASPI, suggested that between 2017 and 2019, the Chinese government facilitated the transfer of Uyghur Muslim and other ethnic minorities from Xinjiang to factories in various parts of China. So, according to the ASPI report, there are strong indications that some 80,000 Uyghurs have been forced to work in factories that form part of the supply chains of at least 83 global brands. Last but not least, the joint statement of the NGOs and the faith leaders call for an independent investigation of the atrocities. Indeed, such an independent investigation could collect and analyze this kind of evidence and make relevant determinations. The NGOs also call for a monitoring mechanism that could continue to oversee the situation and analyze any further allegations. It is yet unclear whether UN will support any of the call for mechanism. Yeah, I think that's all from me. Thank you.